So this is March, right? This is us. Spring break is next week. Do not come to the meeting, obviously. There's no school. Go home, relax, recuperate, have fun, be safe, etc. We do not have a meeting here, right, on the 25th. Yeah, that's just nothing. We're not having anything on the 25th, so don't show up. It's not here on the calendar for some reason, but the 28th and the 29th is Relay for Life. So that goes from noon on the 28th to noon on the 29th. And basically what we do, we just divide it into shifts and have like 8 people per shift, so you guys can all get your social points and have an equal, fair chance to get social points through that. And it's like 3 or 4 hours is the shift.
In the past, we've had it where people could sign up overnight also, but we're not going to do that this year. So we're going to keep it within like reasonable hours, like noon to like midnight, and then 8 a.m. to noon.
And if you don't know what Relay for Life is, it's basically just like you're walking around the track on Cromwell Field
hanging
out
out
with DDSers and other clubs and organizations and stuff like that. And you play games to compete for charity, for cancer research and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a great cause. On the 1st, we're having a meeting. I think that's our 5th general meeting, and that's a personal statement workshop. If you already submitted your application and stuff like that, you do not need to attend, but it is extremely helpful for those of you who haven't applied yet, because we're getting a first taste of like an official personal statement workshop that one of the advisors from the pre-health office is actually going to the Ivy Leagues and like having a huge conference there about what a personal statement should entail. So it will be really, really, really beneficial for you guys to attend this meeting. And then the 8th is elections, which all of you guys need to attend.
And then the 4th is a tentative date for the fundraiser.
Yeah. I mean, that's the final date, the 4th, Saturday the 4th. So no excuses about like not being able to attend and stuff like that. It's a Saturday. We're telling you guys like 3 weeks ahead of time.
It's after Springfest.
Yeah, it's right after Springfest too, and people are going to be wanting to go and hang out. And this isn't just for DDSers. This is less of a DDS event and more of a school-wide event. So bring your friends. Invite as many people as you want on Facebook, stuff like that. Because I'm going to be bringing my friends from school and stuff, like not SE. So yeah, feel free to bring whoever it is that you want. We're trying to raise money for Operation Smile, so it's a great cause. Anything else that I'm forgetting, Mr. President?
Well, I'd like to say thanks to everyone who came out to the Scrubs party. That was a great time.
Yeah.
And everyone treated my house amazingly, so thanks for not destroying it. That's good.
All right. Ashley, Michelle, any other announcements to give?
Just make sure you guys sign in and indicate whether you went to the Scrubs party.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I actually checked that and know exactly who went to the Scrubs party. Like, I know every single one of you. So don't try and cheat us. Because I will find you. I will find you.
And I will kill yours.
Maybe not that much, but I'll find you. Yeah, that's it. Do you guys have any questions about upcoming dates, events? What's up?
When's the personal statement workshop?
When is it?
Yeah, when
it's Wednesday the 1st. So April 1st. April Fool's Day.
That's my dad's birthday.
Yeah. Any other questions that you guys have? Anything? Wildcard points, kicks for kids, etc. You'll all be updated. And you'll all be updated regularly about the events as well too. So yeah. That's it? Yeah.
All right. Well, today we have the great honor of having Dr. Pascal Magne come out and speak to us. He's widely respected as one of the best dentists in the world, and it's an honor to have him come out and speak. No, we're very lucky to have him out here today. And so he is going to give us a presentation on dental morphology and aesthetics, because that's what he teaches here at Ostrow. And without further ado, let's give him a hand.
Thank you very much. I didn't even see if I should wear a microphone or not. Let's see if it's going to work.
Only it works.
I've been speaking the whole day, so my voice is starting to get a little bit tired. Let's see, test. Of course, the batteries are down. So I'll use my voice. Thank you so much. I'm very glad to be here today. I hope my computer will behave well, because it's a new one, and I'm just, kind of transferring everything from the old computer, and you know how a hurdle it is sometimes that the files, the videos won't play. So I'm just praying that everything will work. You guys are very, very blessed, because in Switzerland, where I come from, there is no pre-dental group. So you are just catapulted in the dental school. You are like, where am I? What I'm doing here? You are completely lost. While here it's fantastic. You have this group and you are prepared and you have speakers and you are really well prepared. So I'm really glad to see that. That's really nice. Tonight, you know, I'm going to try to make an overview of one of the first class you will take if you come to this school. And it's called Dental Morphology, Function, Aesthetics. I've been teaching that class for only 3 years. It's been a new endeavor for me to teach to first-year students. I hadn't taught to first-year students for about 20 years. You know, I graduated in '89, so that's a long time ago. I still feel your age inside. I feel like very, very, very young, like a baby almost. And even though my body is not responding the same anymore. So I remember exactly 1986, that first day at dental school where, you know, we were opening all the materials and putting them in the drawers, and I said, what is this? What is this? What is this? And it was like an amazing discovery. And I was not an outstanding student. I was average. But I had to work really hard to just be average. And my other colleagues just in front of me, next to me, they were so quick and they were so good and they did everything faster and better than me. Now it's interesting to see 25 years later that those individuals that were really outstanding, they decided not to teach. They are in a private practice and they are, most of them and they are practicing dentists who treat patients. And myself, who was, you know, just trying my best, I went into the academia, and it's really interesting. I would not have expected that. I was thinking the opposite, that I would be a practicing dentist and they would be teaching, but usually it's not like that. Really, really interesting. So 25 years I've been in the academia now, and also treating patients and teaching and doing research. And it's been an amazing journey. Now, I have to tell you, I have a little bit an advantage, is that my brother, brother in blood, my dear brother, his name is Michel, he is one of the best dental technicians in the world. And I don't know if you are all familiar with what is a dental technician. Who is the dental technician? The dental technician is the lab guy who does all those beautiful pieces of porcelain for you to place in the mouth, and is emulating the natural teeth with the layering, with the beautiful colors, and is copying the beautiful teeth to make a restoration that is then fitted in the mouth. And he's a major source of inspiration for me. And he moved also to Los Angeles 10 years ago to teach with me in this place. Now he has his own private lab outside in the city, and he's not teaching here anymore, unfortunately. But we had some really nice experiences at the beginning. And a lot of what I'm going to show you has been inspired by him. So, I think so.
Okay.
It should be okay. Let me see, but we'll see. The sound, I just didn't have time to check the sound jack, but we'll be fine. Go home. This is Mikhail from IT. So this class, Dental Morphology, Function and Aesthetics, is a foundational course because you will understand later that function and form are totally interrelated, right? So morphology is form is function, and form is also aesthetics because the shape of your teeth, but also color is aesthetics, and not only form. So there is a progressive understanding of morphology, function, aesthetics that I call the 2D, 3D, and 4D process. And I will explain to you that 2D is two-dimensional, 3D is three-dimensional, 4D is with the depth, what we call the translucency, the color, the layering, and that's how the course is structured around this concept. Here at USC, when I came in 2004, in February 2004, from Geneva, Switzerland, where I was teaching in a small, I call it a boutique dental school, a boutique size, which means about maximum, in the worst year, 20 students per year. Free education, I'm sorry to make you salivate about that, it's free education. faculty-student ratio 1 to 4. So I'm not trying to do bad advertisement for USC here. I'm just trying to tell you there's a cultural difference around the globe. But USC has made absolutely great moves. And now, today, I can tell you we are really at the cutting edge of education with the way we teach and the techniques we teach. And really the revolution, the process started more than 10 years ago. And I started a little bit, by making a group of faculty, of the full-time faculty of our division, which is Restorative Sciences. I made a small group of full-time faculty to read the literature and update the curriculum in view of the most recent literature. So we made an evidence-based revision of the curriculum, small hands-on experience with the faculty. We created student manuals. We have in this class, I'm going to show you, it's absolutely unbelievable the amount of information we have in form of online manuals and online video instructions. And then we made a large-scale hands-on to calibrate the faculty. So the manuals you see here, these are example of clinical manuals, but we have preclinical manuals too. This is the preclinical lab. I'm just coming down from the preclinical lab just 10 minutes ago, where I just finished to teach one of the last laboratory sessions of this class, the morphology class. So the dean, this is our dean, Dr. Sadan, came to me 3 years ago and asked me to teach to the preclinical students, because so far in about 7 years of clinical teaching, I was not only with the most advanced student and also with continuing education and teaching also to dentists. So I never teach for preclinical students except for my first year after dental school in Geneva, where I was teaching preclinical students. So it was kind of a big decision, and the dean came to me and he said, Pascal, first year students are a little bit bored with the teaching in dental morphology, and we need something new. We need a new approach to this class. Can you take over this morphology class? And he was asking me this with such a kind, the little angelical look. I couldn't say no. I had to sleep one night over it, and because he also told me, and this is really when he convinced me. He said, "Go wild, do something completely different." And that's when I came up after looking at the sky for a day, and I came up with this idea. Let's do the 2D, 3D, 4D concept, which is very simple. What I want you to know is that our profession really has a foundation, what I call core values. And those core values in what we do is really on those 4 pillars. Biology, which is the vital part of the tissue we treat. It's the vital pulp inside the teeth. It's the soft tissue around the teeth, the bone, etc. Function and mechanics are intimately linked, of course, which will also include morphology. And then aesthetics is, like the cherry on the top. It's not the driving force. It's like if something looks beautiful, if in addition to be biologically acceptable, in addition to be functional and mechanically strong, it looks good, that's the cherry on the top. But the driving force is not aesthetic, but of course it makes it really nice. And dental morphology is really touching to all these elements. In an advanced course, I would replace the word dental morphology here by the word biomimetics, because biomimetics is mimicking nature in all these aspects. So when we do biomimetic restorative dentistry, we are trying to mimic, biology we cannot mimic because once the vital pulp in a tooth is dead, we cannot regenerate it, at least not yet. But we mimic function and mechanics, and of course we mimic the aesthetic value. But all these elements are also closely related to dental morphology. So in this class, what we do is we start by drawing teeth. So now I'm talking about dental morphology. I'm not going to tell you about the morphology of the head and neck, of course. It's going to be focused on restorative dentistry, restoring teeth, so we need to know dental anatomy, morphology, function, aesthetics. 2D means drawing. And we learn the elements, the contours, and we learn also 3D drawing techniques that lead us to the 3D learning of the anatomy. And we do that like, you know, if you take classes of sculpting, you are going to work with clay, right? We are going to build up with clay. And our clay in dentistry is called wax. And we call it a wax up. So in art, they do a clay up. But we do wax ups. That means we take wax and we melt it, and there's a fantastic technique to build teeth in 3D using wax. That's called a wax up. We do partial and additive total wax up. And finally, the culminating part of the class is the 4D, where now with the wax we have just an opaque volume. With the 4D we build layers. Because the tooth, the natural tooth is made of layer. Dentin is a more opaque material and it's covered with enamel, which is a translucent material. So we are going to build teeth with the different layers, and it's called histoanatomy, knowing the anatomy of the different tissues. Histoanatomy. Enamel and dentin, optical depth. That's what we are focusing. And we are just doing that. This afternoon was, the whole afternoon was dedicated to exercises of depth and anatomy in posterior dentition. So let's see, I have no clue if this is going to work. That would be a miracle.
Oh.
Okay, yes or no? Not really.
It's
Oh yeah, it is. Amazing. Like, we are just missing, what is that thing? Gosh, Windows 8, thank you. So this is, I don't have the music, but this is don't worry, I'm not drawing that fast. But an example of 3D drawing, this one I did, the real time of this whole video is 15 minutes. So it's accelerated, I don't know how many times. But we teach cross-hatching, shadowing techniques, outline elements. It's a really interesting technique. This is a very quick drawing, only 15 minutes. Of course, the students are going to draw, they take more time. And I tell you, by teaching this, I will show you later, some of the students are now drawing much better than myself. And it's funny because I had students come to me and say, oh, I'm looking forward so much to learn how to draw. And the student came and they didn't know anything, and they did amazing. And some other student came to me and said, oh, I know how to draw. I'm looking forward because I know already how to draw. And they didn't draw that well. So it's like the one who did nothing, who knew nothing, did a really amazing job. And sometimes the one who think they know and don't know so much. So now I just have to find out how to close that thing. Okay, let me do it differently. Yeah. So, 3D means now, you see, this is a premolar. That, you see how complex is the anatomy. This is actually a 3D model reconstruction from CT scanner data that we do for simulating stresses in teeth. It's called finite element analysis. And those is one of the models we use to place forces in a virtual environment, in a computer, and kind of stress the teeth and see how they deform and how they break. And those models are really, they have layers inside, and that's what I call the 4D. You see the tooth is a big, actually, core of the blue material you see here is called dentin. It's a very low elastic modulus material, it's flexible, it's like a bumper. And the root of the teeth, the root that goes then into the bone, is made of dentin. So it's a low elastic modulus material. And then on top of the dentin, you have this rigid shell of enamel, which is very wear resistant, very hard, but also very brittle. And that very hard protection shell is allowing you to chew efficiently for a lifetime. If we didn't have that wear resistant shell, the dentin would not break, but it will wear off flat, and you would not have any masticatory efficiency. So this is called synergetic, behavior. The dentin is very poor in terms of wear resistant, but it's very flexible. It's like the spring on your car. And then the enamel is like a permanent tire of your car. It's not going to wear off. You will not need to change the tires with this kind of tire because enamel is extremely resistant. It's a perfect protective shell. So that's what we try to learn. And you see there is a complex, very complex relationship between those two. So I'm not going to teach you dental morphology tonight. It's too short, but just to give you an overview on this class. So in 2012, I didn't take a vacation, because I had to design that course. And it was like creating a syllabus, material update, building a team to teach, courseware, PowerPoints, manual, movies for the entire course. It's a 2-trimester class. We have 2 times 15 hands-on sessions. That means 30 hands-on sessions total of each an average of 5 hours. And then 30 classes, each of 2 hours. And so the hands-on you will see is entirely related to what you are going to do as a dentist. The materials we use in the lab are entirely related to what you are going to use as a dentist in the mouth. I have put together an amazing team. We have a faculty to student ratio, which is about 1 faculty for 8 students. For me, it's still not enough, but it's better than other schools where you have 1 faculty for 20 students and maybe more even in some preclinical courses. So it can be really bad. That's quite amazing. And I have now the preclinical students from last year. They come back this year to help TA as teaching assistants. So that adds even more coverage to help the new student. And we have manuals, HD movies for all laboratory assignments that are available online, and the students can know exactly, like you come to class tomorrow, tonight you go home, you can see the entire movie and the instructional manual for tomorrow, so you can come tomorrow prepared for the session. So it's a clinically related hands-on, as I told you. We don't, in the preclinical lab, we have to have a simulated patient, right? We cannot have a real person. It's a preclinical lab. So our patient is this typodont. We call it Mr. Columbus because it's made by a company called Columbia. So I always joke with the students, say, take Mr. Columbus today. Mr. Columbus is always waiting for us, always faithful, and never complaining. So this is Mr. Columbus. It's an artificial gingiva with a silicone model. There's plastic teeth. And those teeth, I love this model because the teeth are not perfect. So we can make them look better. And that's really nice. So what we are going to do, we treat Mr. Columbus exactly like we are going to treat a patient in the clinics. That means one of the first thing you do is called data collection. You collect all the data about your patient. And one thing you have to do in the clinics is make stone molds, stone models of the patient's teeth. So that's the first part of the class. We do the class exactly in the same sequence that you are going to do in the clinics with the patient. That means taking impressions and molds of the patient teeth, pouring them in this white stone material, and mounting them on this device, which is called an articulator, which is simulating the movement of your jaws. And you see it opens and closes and it slides laterally to simulate jaw movement. After we do we have our patient models mounted, we are going to prepare ourselves to apply morphological exercises. So one thing we do in this class, and there is a lot of printed material. I mean printed when I say PDF, your generation, my generation was a printer, your generation print into a PDF file. So it's all available on PDF on the website of the course, and we have detailed review of each tooth by tooth. We make like a voyage. We travel into the tooth morphology and we look at the shape and the detail, and not only we look at them, we draw them. And we are going to make about, each student will generate about 25 drawings, and you will see, I will show you how they look like. It's quite amazing. So it's also kind of an art class, which is important because we are doing a little bit of art in the mouth of the patient. Then we move to, I was telling you, the wax up exercise, which is the 3D part. where we are going to build up the teeth of Mr. Columbus here. We are going to make them younger. So those teeth were worn off and short. They look a little bit ugly and flat, and they look kind of boring. We are going to give them life. So we build up, and this is in the process of waxing up the teeth to make them younger. Then we do the same thing on the posterior dentition. That means we are going to go tooth by tooth on each posterior tooth. We are going to draw them after we study them, and we are going to wax them up. So this is another wax-up technique that we teach to build back the masticatory efficiency of your posterior teeth. So remember, anterior teeth are for shearing and cutting and smiling. And posterior teeth are for, grinding the food down in small pieces so you can swallow it and digest it, right? So that's the basic foundation of the masticatory system. So here you see these teeth, they have grooves, they have ridges, they have oblique ridges, they have transverse ridges, they have marginal ridges. It looks like the Swiss Alps, right? Where I'm from. And there is a reason for that. There is a reason for each little element in a tooth. And each tooth has its fingerprint. So my students, hopefully, is there one of my students here or she left? She left.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good.
she was.
So I can talk about them now. Each tooth and each student should know. So if I show a picture like that, they have to know, okay, this is the first maxillary molar on the right or the first maxillary molar on the left. Each tooth has a fingerprint. There is almost impossible to confuse a tooth from another. They are each unique with unique feature, and that's what we study. So you see all these little details. This is a wax up. This is a handmade sculpture of the teeth. Now, we know our morphology. What we are going to do, we are going to make real restorations. We are going to make stuff that are usable in the patient's mouth. And one of the things I told you, so we take, this is Mr. Columbus at the beginning when he comes to us the first time. We study his case and we come up with a proposal of a new smile. So you see from here to here we lengthen the teeth, they look more with a positive curve. We study basically a checklist of what is called aesthetic checklist. There's 14 criteria that we review. We study objective and subjective criteria that make a smile look beautiful. But then we need to take this and make what we call a mock-up. The mock-up is a piece of resin that is fabricated in the mouth of the patient. It's a kind of a snap-on, but that is exactly a replica of that, so we can test that. It's called a smile design, and we can look at it, and this is what we do during the 4D part of the class. And as you can see now, what do you see? Is a replica of this, but the difference now, we have translucency, we have color, we have coloring and effects and depth. And this is fabricated by, as I was telling you, a layering technique. And on the posterior teeth, again, the 4D part, we take those ugly plastic teeth. And that's what we just did today, this afternoon. The whole afternoon we were drilling big holes into those teeth to simulate carious lesions, and then we filled them with an aesthetic layering technique using composite resins. And you see those plastic teeth that are dead and without really character, we made them come alive, and this is all hand-built layers of resin, and now we are trying to emulate the beautiful natural shape of the teeth, and that comes up like this. So again, we are using unique materials like the best materials we can in the world. I tell you, the materials we use in this preclinical lab is very luxurious. So the materials are very expensive to get, and because these are materials normally we use for the mouth. What I see in other school in general is the preclinical course gets the worst material in the school, because the general thought is, the preclinical student, they don't do anything that goes in the mouth. So we give them all the expired stuff, the bad stuff, because it's not going in the mouth. No, that's not what we do here. We use the same stuff that goes in the mouth. and it's more expensive. So it's a financial sacrifice that we do so that you can experience like the masters. So this is an exercise. I don't know, it's difficult for me to put myself in your shoes when you look at this picture, because I have no idea where you are in your knowledge of dentistry. So when you look at this picture, there's a million of information. First of all, if you are a photographer, you're like, oh, what is that black spot here? Well, I forgot to Photoshop it away. But other than that, I don't know if you realize all these ridges, convex, concave, convex, the shape of these. You see, this is what we call the negative space, the black background behind the teeth. You see, this is called a V-shaped embrasure. This is another embrasure. This is flat. This is slightly rounded, but this is more rounded. You see that those ridges, some of them go straight, some of them goes oblique. The surface texture, you see there is vertical and there is horizontal. Well, here you don't see very well the contour of the gingiva because it's white on white. But you understand, there is a ton of information in this. And hopefully, by month 6 or 7 in this school, you will be able to reproduce something a little bit like that. Not exactly, but this was made, to be honest with you, I have to reveal that this was made by my brother, who has a, not only the ability to do that, but to do that in a way that fits a patient's face, personality, and character. And that is really, that's more advanced. So thanks God in the preclinical we don't have a real patient, because that's the next step, It's to make something that you beautiful on the model, which can, it's not too difficult to make something that looks beautiful like that, but the next thing is it going to make the patient happy? And this is the challenge, because if you come here to LA and you go to Hollywood, there is what we call the Hollywood smile. How would you describe the Hollywood smile compared to that? I can tell you, a patient who wants a Hollywood smile, there's many things here that they will hate in that shape of teeth. What do you think they will hate first?
The ridges.
Yeah, they want them more flat.
Yeah.
Okay, what else?
Pointed canines.
Yeah, they don't want the pointed canines because they hate that.
Yeah.
You see, they want those things to disappear. So first thing you have to do if you have those patients, they want you to close this, so it's all looking the same. And they don't like the difference between this one and this one. So they want everything flat, the same length, like a set of chiclets, like this. Okay, and we deal with that every day. Patients, they think perfection. For them, perfection is something simple. Our brain wants something simple, so just repetitive, always the same. And that's not who we are. In the face, you have eyes, a nose, and a mouth. They're all different. The mouth is the biggest part because it's bigger than one eye. Your mouth is bigger than your nose, normally. Can happen that it's not. Okay, so the mouth is the dominant feature of your face, right? Same thing, in the smile, the central incisors, those two teeth, are the dominant teeth of the smile. And each tooth has its, the central is more the personality. The lateral, this tooth, is more the fantasy, because usually left and right are different. And the canine is more the personality, fantasy,
Reality.
canine. There's a big difference between a canine that you would call a male canine or a female. Canines is gender. Male canine are more long, strong, incisal, and female canine soft, rounded, a little bit shorter. So there's a difference. So there's male, but you know what? Really interesting. My gosh, I don't know at what time I will finish if I continue like that, but there's so much to say. If I show you pictures of teeth of people without showing you the face, just the teeth, do you think you can say this is a woman or this is a man? Are there women teeth and men teeth? Impossible. Half of the time you will be wrong. Because there is not a gender in teeth. The only thing that is significantly different, if you measure the size of the teeth, width, length, and all that stuff, women have smaller teeth than men. That is statistically different. But the shape, there is no man or woman. But each of us has teeth that are more feminine or more masculine. And that's why, you know, there are men with more feminine teeth and there are women with more masculine teeth. For instance, man teeth, usually a connotation of male teeth is flat incisal edge. Squared, flat, that's more male. And then rounded and soft and rounded incisal edge like that is more female. Okay? But you cannot identify gender based on the shape of the teeth. Impossible. So, this is called an electric waxer. It's what I call a wax pencil. Basically, the pencil and the piece of paper is 2D. You draw on a piece of paper. This is a pencil, but it's hot here, and you dip it in the wax, and you build up teeth. It's a 3D pencil. It's really nice. So you can learn now the 3D part, and we use other tools. So for instance, these are prefabricated wax patterns based on natural teeth. So sometimes you can use like an additional tool to facilitate your design, and those are wax patterns that it's a technique that we teach also to the preclinical lab, which I tell you many dental technicians in the world don't even use that, and we teach that in the preclinical lab students. That's quite advanced. And finally, those are acrylic resins. Those are polymethyl methacrylate resin that we use to do those layering exercises. And now you see, this is the dentin of the tooth with effects inside, and then we cover that with enamel, and it gives you this beautiful natural result. So, I was telling you we have detailed step-by-step manuals for each. So those are all the manuals for each laboratory exercise that students do for each of the 30 lab sessions. We have a manual, and at the end of each manual, which is every week, a new manual, there's an evaluation form. And students self-evaluate, and then we evaluate them, and we give them points, and that counts towards their grade. So if you do your job correctly in my class, you will get, if you do your lab session, which is normally very easy to do, I mean, it's a lot of work time-wise, but you can reach good results. This will be 60% of your grade. And exams, like written and laboratory exams, will be 40% of your grade. Are we okay?
We have like 5 more minutes.
5 more minutes. Okay, good.
Tons of questions
Okay,
too.
so I'm there, absolutely. So, and then we have movies for all the different steps in the lab. And all the material is available on Blackboard. And we have a grade center where students can check their grades at all time online, so it's really nice. And this is my team, you know, in 2012, 2013, every time I have different teams of faculty. So this is the preclinical lab, and we have groups, and what we do, which is really nice, every 4 weeks we rotate the faculty. So you are not stuck with someone you don't like for the entire class. So you have no excuse, you cannot complain. All right, and this is my brother. He looks younger than me, even though he's older than me. We have guests. We have guest speaker, but this guy is amazing. He's a very talented ceramist. And we have Skype lectures. This is Dr. Bazos. He's teaching histoanatomy through Skype. He was in Greece that day. Now he's in Scotland. So in 2 weeks he will give a fantastic lecture. And in his lecture we have 3D, so you know, if you look at 3D anatomy, we need 3D glasses. So we look at 3D models of teeth. And really, everything you need to know is in the syllabus, which is very detailed. So I want to show you some examples of student work now. So those are the models of Mr. Columbus. These are models of patients. We fabricate them with a special technique. We glue them together and we mount them. There's a way of trimming them, making those beautiful models. And then we mount them in this articulator. And you see, this is so clean. We teach you how to do those models in the cleanest way possible. And those models is going to be your substrate to work for the next couple months. And those are mounted. This student was so proud because look at everything is like mounted. The mounting stone is finished with sandpaper, and there's a lot of passion going. Then we give you, these are models of intact natural dentitions that you can copy from. So you can copy nature. We have examples of extracted teeth. Those are kind of models of extracted teeth that you can study the anatomy from. And you see each tooth has a fingerprint. I was telling you, you cannot confuse them. And then we start using those models to emulate nature. So we do drawings in 2D. I myself started to draw because of this class, and now I developed a passion for drawing. I have to tell you, I can't stop drawing even at home now because it's so relaxing. It's like, instead of doing stupid things and spending time on Facebook or television, do something constructive like drawing. And this is based on a book by Betty Edwards. We teach that method for drawing through the morphology class. This is example of that method. We go with the progressive outline elements, shadowing, highlighting, etc. So those are all drawings from students in this class. Some of them, they had never been drawing before. And you see here, this is Sei-Chan Lee, Cami Torres. I mean, all the names are here. Look at, those are not pictures. They are drawings with a pencil. Pencil eraser, and a student even said, I'm going to play with my iPad with what you taught me, and he did those nice drawings. This is Rebecca Lynn. Look at that.
Wow.
It looks like a photography. I tell you, they became better than me. For me as a teacher, I cannot ask for better. Students better than the teacher. I have succeeded my mission. And then drawing is also an exam. So those are all exam drawings you see here. This is a big one. This one is actually real size on the screen. The way it's projected is the real size. I did at home because I love drawing. So, and then I started drawing my kids. And then I started to look at, I said, oh, I love this picture for National Geographic. So I did a big version of that picture. One of my students had this beautiful eye. So I took a picture and then and this one is also real size. This one is big like that. I have it at home. Now, I'm a believer, I'm a Christian, so I wanted to do a project from my church. And this one I did, it's like the top view of the cross. It's called Redemption. Just gave this as a gift to my pastor. He was very, very happy. And then I keep going. I have bigger drawings. If you come to my lab downstairs, I just finished a giant drawing of like a central, a lateral, and a canine. But don't worry, I'm not drawing only teeth, you see. So, 3D wax up. I'm just going to quickly show you some examples. This is, you see, this is a natural tooth, and this is a wax up by the student. So copying nature. We learned in this class to copy as much as we can. This was an exam, you see, natural tooth, the wax up, copy. There's a lot of information there. And so, then we do this other type of wax up I was telling you with the prefabricated wax pattern. Look at this. This is student work. You remember the first wax up I showed you from my brother? And look at this now. Look at the ridges, the beautiful arrangement, the embrasures, the canine. This is made by student after 5 months. And I tell you, this is better than many professionals that I know. Okay, so I'm going to browse real quick because I want to show you a movie at the end with some. Do I have time for this quick movie? It's going to be 5 minutes.
I mean, it's up to them. Some of them have class at 6, so they might need to leave. But whoever needs to leave can go now.
Okay.
Before you start the movie.
I will not be offended if you leave. Don't worry. So I'm going to show you real quick that movie of the final achievements, and that will be my last, and then you can ask me questions. Okay. when I did the class the first year, I was so blessed to receive a beautiful congratulations card from the entire class. And let's see if it's going to work. Yes, that's the one. Okay. Unfortunately, the music is not working for some reason. I don't know. Okay, let's do it. I told you the computer would be tricky. Okay, let me try to. Okay. Bummer. Is that how you say? Bummer. Okay. Okay, since it's doing a trick on me, I'm going to show you just these pictures of a layering exercise, and I'm going to conclude with that.
Can we ask you questions?
Yeah, please.
So, is aesthetic dentistry, it's not a subspecialty, is it? Like, there's no really aesthetic dentists out there, because isn't every general dentist and every dentist supposed to be
Yeah,
focused on
exactly.
aesthetics?
Aesthetic dentistry is everyday dentistry.
Yeah.
It's not a specialty, but some schools have like a certificate. If you go to UCLA, they have a Dr. Ed McLaren who's doing a course in aesthetic dentistry, which is like a residency program for dentists and dental technicians. It is not a recognized specialty program. You have restorative dentistry program. We just started one here. It's called, you can do a master if you want. It's a restorative dentistry certificate. But it's not a recognized specialty like perio, like surgery, like endo, ortho, etc. So it is everyday, it's daily bread dentistry. So again, what I've shown you here is really daily bread stuff that we do clinically. And I just wanted to conclude with this combination of anterior exercises, and this is using this acrylic resin and a cut-back technique with staining and all this stuff. And this is made by student. Now you have the 3D wax transformed into a 4D structure with layers and translucency and things. This is the, Mr. Columbus with the soft gingiva and stuff. And we did really in 3D and 4D what we planned on the wax. And this is a student fabricated layer. So now look at this beautiful, you see the white halo, the translucency, the mamelons, the ridges, the surface texture, the interdental color. There is a ton of work there. And that's why it's difficult for me to understand what you understand in this. But I can tell you this is a very advanced exercise that students do. We just completed that one 2 weeks ago. And now we are in the same thing. We are in this stage where we do the posterior exercises. And I want to show you, this is an example. Student found, how do you say that? Thigh. And look at those beautiful effect and coloring that she put in that too. Absolutely amazing. Other examples. And then, I want to conclude with that clinical case because you will understand now. We put in practice everything that we do in the clinic. And this is a patient I treated with a student called Joseph Hanna. She was a student herself. And she had those teeth. You see how tapered they are? Normal teeth do like this. These teeth were doing like this. And so what we are going to do is we are going to do porcelain veneers. Are you familiar with that word? It's like a little fingernail type and a fake fingernail of your finger. That's a porcelain veneer on the tooth. And so what we did here, exactly applying what I show you, we take, this is what? Not yet. It's a stone model. This is the future contour that we planned with the wax. That's called a silicone index. It's a replica of this wax up. And this, we fill that with a resin and we put it in the mouth. And this is called, this is a temporary mock-up that the student, Joseph Hanna, he did himself with the technique I just showed you. And with this is the new smile of the patient. And then, in that case, we were extremely blessed to be able to work with my brother for the final restorations. So this is still the mock-up. You see, this is like a plastic, totally reversible, snap-on type smile that she has, but look how beautiful it looks for her. Because once, you know, ceramic veneers, once they are made and bonded, that's it. You cannot change them anymore. So you have to know how it should look like before you start. And not only knowing, but the patient has to test it. How they feel with comfort, with phonetics, can they do all the sounds that we do during speech, because when you change the length, that influences a lot the phonetic. The function, are they suddenly going to grind their teeth because their teeth are too long? That can happen. So we test all of these, and of course the aesthetic. And now this is the final work that my brother made for this patient. Now this is porcelain. And you see, that's how she was before. And that's how she's now. Now, of course you will tell me, oh, that's a small change. But I can tell you there's a ton of changes in this one. And that's why it's very complex. But this is something that if you are lucky enough, you will have patients like that in this dental school. And look at the amazing change of smile. Those were the teeth before we bonded those veneers on those teeth. And you will see now some details of the case. I have to show you the final picture. So this is a special picture made with a polarizing filter that prevents surface reflections and that will allow you to see the depth in the shade of the teeth. And that's a picture taken with a flash to show you the surface texture of the teeth. You see all those lobes, all those detail. You see this horizontal line, vertical, like the natural teeth. A lot of effects have been created there. This, let me go. So this is again final picture, and so this is Joseph, and this is Ashley who graduated. So the patient and her student dentist, and I was again supervising that whole thing. So really exciting. Now, if you want to know more, we have a bunch of publications that have been already, because when people started to hear about that class, I was contacted by the American Academy of Cosmetic Dentistry, the European Academy of Aesthetic Dentistry, and also, so we have 3 publications. If you are interested, I can send you those PDFs if you want to know more and maybe about the structure of the class. Okay, I think I'm done, a little bit late, but I started late too. So, thank you very much.
Let's give another hand to Dr. Magne. Thanks. Does anyone have any more?
Yeah, we're gonna start the Q&A. If anybody has any questions for Dr.
We're actually gonna. Do you mind if we give them your contact information if they have
No,
any questions
absolutely,
whatsoever?
yeah.
Perfect.
No
All right.
problem.
So we're all done. We also got you a gift.
Oh,
So-
no, please, I don't deserve.
You're more deserving if anything.
Oh.
I hope you guys have a good break.
Yeah, we'll see you guys soon. All the interns stay.
Stay safe. That's the problem.
Thank you.
It was about
I'm still They have classes at 6.
Alright, if you're not an intern, leave. Seriously, go.
Let's go.
No, you go. And, you know, they're all interns. You're the only one.
Yeah. No, but you know,
God.
people write long messages. I will not necessarily reply, but if it's a short, concise, I always reply. But I reply. You did. Always, right? Okay. Otherwise, I would beat myself. Okay, fantastic.
I still have my anatomy physio course, so I'm doing that. Just in general, don't worry about DDS. My stats.
Yeah? It wasn't like too,
Yeah, that's it. Just chilling.
it's really difficult to now I can answer the questions, but it took me a long time because I was teaching more to already experienced dentists.
Right. And then in that case, you could say.
You have to tone down everything. So it's quite complicated to teach people swirling I hope they could understand. Thank you so much. Thank you. Excellent. So we stay in touch. Right?
Thank you very much.
Bye bye. Thank you. Bye bye. Good to see you. So you're still doing something?
Yeah, we have like a quick meeting. I didn't talk enough clearly. They want to hear my
I
voice.
see. He likes to talk. I see that. And then I was like, he was going back and forth. I said, I have to stop now. He wants to talk. That's his turn now. Okay? All right. Thank you guys.